Altogether, the people in this room have spent collectively about 28 million hours inside of a classroom, inside of a school, and that's before college. So here's the question: what did we learn? As a sustainability educator, I can tell you not nearly enough. We can and we need to use this time better to teach our students to be stewards of this planet. So the next question is how? Well, how do we teach anything? How do we learn anything? Each of us will have a different answer for that because we each learn in different ways, but we all learn better through experiences, right? I learn language through speaking and listening. I learn art through painting. I learn music through playing. And I learn chemistry by accidentally blowing things up. Sustainability is no different. But how do we provide an experience around solar energy, or water conservation, or healthy and local foods? And most importantly, how do we get the kids to care? And that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about using the school itself as a teaching tool for sustainability, one that provides those experiences and engages the students. Let me give you an example. This is a school, it's new, it's in Hawaii. This school produces all of its own energy. It collects, recycles, and reuses and purifies all of its own water. And this entire school is made from local and non-toxic materials. It's very impressive considering it's an island. This school even produces native Hawaiian crops on site, and guess what? The students help. Do these sound like the values that we want to surround our kids with, that we want to have them experience and teach them? Yes. Good, I'm glad we're in agreement. But this is not realistic, right? How many schools, how many students go to a cutting-edge new green school, right? The majority of our schools are legacy buildings. They're 50 or 100 years old, like Whittier Elementary here in Boulder. And that's okay. I want to emphasize it. It's okay because it doesn't take a cutting-edge new green school to be a teaching tool for sustainability and provide those hands-on learning experiences, right? Because the reality is, as a kid, I don't care. I don't care when my building was built or how it was built. I just don't want to be bored. It's more important for me how I learn than where I learn. If my school collects all of its own rainwater, that's great, but I don't care unless I can see it, feel it, and interact with it. And if you're going to teach me about energy efficiency, I'm going to be more engaged if I can use my school itself as a textbook, and I can shut off lights, and I can turn off computers, and I can unplug unused devices. That's exactly what 65 schools did in California. They implemented an energy efficiency program into their curriculum, and they used the school itself as a textbook for that program. And guess what? Those schools save $700,000 a year in energy costs simply because of what the students are doing. Yeah. It's that hands-on learning experience that engages us and excites us and increases our knowledge retention. Right? And this is something we all know intuitively. If you're like me, you probably can't remember the thousands of hours you spent sitting in a desk. But I can clearly remember every single field trip I've ever been on. Like the time in the 3rd grade when I went to a pond for the first time and I collected that water and I stared into it for hours trying to see the bacteria. Right? That was an experience. That improved my learning. One study found that students that are engaged in hands-on learning curriculums outperform their traditional counterparts by 92%. 92%. And this isn't breaking news. In fact, it's one of the core principles of both the Montessori and Waldorf school systems. I can't stress this enough. We need to implement sustainability more into those programs, into those experiential learning. Many of you probably heard of or even participated in programs that take inner-city kids to state and national parks so that they can experience nature. Those programs are great, but why are we teaching our students that nature is a bus ride away? What if we could bring the students and the nature to the school itself? That's exactly what Sidwell Friends School did when they designed their new middle school. They designed a wastewater treatment system to purify all the building's water, the toilet water, the sink water, and the rainwater, and it does so naturally through plants. The water flows through a series of constructed ecosystems, such as a wetland and a pond, and by the time the water leaves that system, it tests more pure, cleaner than the municipal water. Right? And this system provides some wonderful hands-on learning opportunities. Students don't need to get on a bus to go see nature. They can simply go out their front door. Right? They can go outside their classroom and study a wetland and study that pond, or simply eat their lunch surrounded by nature. Right? But I want to reiterate that it doesn't take a cutting-edge new green school to provide these experiences, to provide these hands-on learning opportunities. As a school researcher, some of the most inspiring examples I've seen come from schools that are only green because the students and the teachers made them that way. Like this example in Pittsburgh, where students constructed, with their teachers' help, a renewable energy contraption. It's an interactive device that provides students an experience with renewable energy. Right? This is separate from the school, but it still provides a hands-on experience. And these examples don't have to be technical. Some of the most creative examples I've seen are through the use of art, right? Art is something that can be easily implemented in any school, old or new, right? And it provides the students with an opportunity to positively contribute to their surroundings, right? They can beautify their school, and this gives them a sense of empowerment and a sense of ownership, right? Like this school in Cincinnati, students painted a mural to remind other students to recycle. Or right here in Boulder, at the Shining Mountain Waldorf School, students in a metalworking class designed and built an environmentally themed fence around the school garden. And these experiences, these examples, can take a variety of forms. One of my favorite schools is outside of Colorado Springs. It's called School in the Woods. And as its name suggests, these students very rarely go inside. They spend most of their time learning from nature outdoors. And when they do go inside, they do one of two things. They either bring nature inside, like this indoor garden, or they take mandatory state tests. And when they do, these students typically outperform the rest of the district by 5 to 10% in math, reading, and writing. And you don't need a rural environment to do this. Another one of my favorite examples is in the south side of Chicago, a very urban environment. This school's name is the Academy for Global Citizenship. And that's right, Academy for Global Citizens, that's a school name. They have their own garden that the students maintain. The students even raise and care for chickens. And guess what? This is what they eat. This is a made-from-scratch, all-organic, affordable school lunch. This is not Whole Foods. And this school, when they take tests, they outperform the entire Chicago school district average by 5% when they're in a neighborhood that should statistically be failing. In fact, a nearby school that's using a traditional education system, same demographic of students roughly, they're outperforming by 30%. And on top of all of that, this school spends 10% less per student than the district schools. Thank you. So from a rural setting in the Colorado woods to an urban setting in the south side of Chicago, both of these schools are in legacy buildings, right? They're old buildings. They are outperforming the traditional counterparts because they're using hands-on learning to provide that experience. And they're getting students excited about sustainability, passionate about sustainability, because they're using the school as a textbook for sustainability. I don't know about you, but I didn't have these experiences growing up. And for the last 3 years, I've been collecting these school examples, these success stories, from the smallest design feature to entire schools that are integrating the school into their curriculum. Right? These excite me, they really inspire me, and more importantly, they excite and they inspire the students. And that's what I'd like to end on. If you ask any of the educators at these schools, they'll tell you that the majority of what they're doing can be implemented in any school, anywhere. It simply takes some creativity and passion on the part of the stakeholders in the school to implement this. And there are hundreds of these success stories out there, hundreds of examples, but there are thousands of schools in our country. Sustainability cannot be a focus in a fraction of our schools. It must be a focus in all of our schools. So the next time, I don't care if you're a teacher, an administrator, a student, or if you're just going to your next PTA meeting, look around your school and see if sustainability is being experienced around you. And if it's not, ask yourself, how can you be creative and implement that experience with the students? How can you provide that for them? What would your ideal school be? What would your ideal school be, and how would you want to interact with it? And if you're having trouble being creative, just ask the most imaginative people we know. After all, it is their school. Thank you.